Alright, today's the 15th. Let's go over PA. So coming into the market, it was obvious that we left this very large new week opening gap. And currently price was now trading towards all-time highs as our main prominent draw on liquidity. And so what I did was I marked the midnight open just to see what the previous sessions did leading up to this draw. And what we did have was this unfilled 4-hour bullish fair value gap. So what I could have seen would be price trading into this bullish gap that was unfilled, and then for that to send price higher towards all-time highs. Or if this 4-hour gap began getting inverse, we could see delivery towards new week opening gap. But obviously, as you guys know, that didn't happen, so we could see that potentially within the next couple of days, right? Delivery towards that new week opening gap. But anyways, internally, why I was anticipating this 4-hour bullish gap to be our main condition was because the previous sessions leading up to this pre-market of AM, all we did was stack this internal liquidity here. We stacked all of this low resistance liquidity. So what I could have seen off open would have been a manipulation lower and then delivery towards that all-time high as our main draw. If we wanted that though, we would have needed confirmation, and what we did have was this unfilled 15-minute bullish fair value gap. This was left pre-market to the AM session. So you guys see it here at 6:15 when this candle closed, we opened up this 15-minute bullish fair value gap. So what I would have wanted to see would have been a sweep of London here, an inversion of this 15-minute gap, and then potential continuations until we filled this 4-hour bullish fair value gap. What we had on the higher time frame holding price here until reaching all-time high was we only had this 1-hour IFVG. You guys can see where this was previously a fair value gap. It got inversed here, and this continued as a bearish condition. As you guys can see, the only bearish fair value gap we had was this hourly, and this got inversed here at 6 o'clock. So this was no longer valid, but what we did have was this 1-hour IFVG. And so I used this as a draw to see price potentially trade into, reverse back to new week opening gap, or this 4-hour bullish gap, or back to midnight. In order to see that, we would have needed to see internal bullish structure get disrespected. So here I am on the 5-minute time frame, currently 6:25. If I skip through price one candle, you guys can see right off open we end up pumping about 89 points. So that's not what I wanted to see. That's a ton of volume, very unexpected volume getting pumped in. And we do trade into this 1-hour IFVG here. And the same bias remains where we have this 15-minute gap as our main condition to send price higher or potentially see price trade lower before continuations higher. So there was this that I was looking at here, where we opened up this 5-minute bullish gap, and you could have seen this as a condition to send price higher as continuations here, where we open the next candle, trade into this 5-minute gap, and continue higher. The only reason why this wouldn't have been a good setup is because we have this very overextended leg. Not only are we extremely in premium, but we're rejecting this 1-hour IFVG. You guys can see the rejection here is pretty strong. You could have seen this as a rejection block as well. So that wasn't a valid trade setup for me, but you guys can see that we do end up trading higher out of this gap. Not only that, but to add, we ended up stacking an equal low here. So not only was this condition not the best because we were extremely premium, but instead of sweeping this intermediate low before delivering higher, we end up stacking an equal low. So what could have happened was we hold this strong rejection block that was put in earlier, and then we come back for that intermediate low. And whoever entered this trade would have got stopped out or break even. Then again, it wasn't the best setup. Anyways, continuing through price here, you guys can see we end up opening another 5-minute bullish fair value gap here, but we're already near our all-time highs as the draw. But here initially we do inverse this 5-minute gap, but taking shorts wouldn't have made sense because our bias is overall long towards all-time highs here. Although we inverse this 5-minute gap, what you guys failed to see was that we actually opened a 15-minute bullish gap as soon as we inverse this 5. So we drag this here, and as you can see, as soon as that 15-minute gap opens right here at 7 o'clock, we end up trading into it. Now 7 o'clock is our key open, and what you want to see is for price to start trading above the key open. So now, given that we had the key open, the only thing I didn't like was that we left these intermediate lows sitting right here. And so what I wanted to see was either NQ to resweep these lows and then continue to trade above the key open towards this all-time high, and not just the all-time high, but these draws that were left behind. As I skip through price, you'll kind of see us stack another high here. So not only are we stacking buy-side liquidity, but we're holding the key open here. So a good setup out of this would have been a manipulation of these intermediate lows, holding the key open and a potential rejection block out of this, or an IFVG depending on your guys' entry model. Here is the bullish SMT I was talking about, where ES ended up sweeping this low, right? The same low here on NQ. Therefore, NQ being in this range was totally fine, and I wasn't anticipating for price to deliver any lower. So what we would have needed would have been a valid rejection block. Right, although we have this rejection block, this isn't enough confirmation to send price higher because we don't have any overextension and no return in price here. Where you can see here on the 1 minute when price leaves this range, we end up getting an overextended leg here where we mark our fib here. And what price does is it returns and taps the key open once again and tapping OTE of this range. Not only that, but as it returns in price, it also leaves these relative equal highs resting here, and the main draw being all-time highs and the AM high here. So what I was anticipating for out of this OTE and key open is for price to now deliver higher. An entry for you guys would have been an IFVG model here, where you take this 1 minute inversion and you keep your stops below the key open there. See how price plays out here. As you can see, we do deliver to all-time highs, but the main component to this trade was where we were delivering from. As you guys can see, when we open up this 15-minute bullish gap, we end up getting a bullish SMT out of it, where ES no longer comes to resweep this low, but NQ did, and we get another bullish SMT here. The reason for that is ES did not get remanipulated. We actually ended up respecting that first bullish SMT, and we delivered straight to all-time highs. Whereas on NQ, we do remanipulate, and then we start overextending, and then we get that return to key open before deliverance to all-time highs here. But the main idea of today's bias was delivery out of this gap and how that looked like. Today's PA was not terrible. It was more about finding where we were delivering from and taking the opportunity that presented itself. Obviously here where we're just stacking highs and stacking lows and not really extending outside of the range here, then we didn't really have any valid setup, and any rejection block out of this range was not necessarily valid. But we get that remanipulation, we get some extension of price where we break out of this consolidated range. The good thing about this was we stacked these equal highs here, so our bias was still long in this case. And we get a retracement, thankfully, and we're able to enter off the rejection of key open. Also, it aligns with OTE of this overextended leg, and being that this is a protected low, I'm not anticipating for price to come and resweep this once more, especially since we just got this bullish SMT internally. So I'm expecting for this range to hold up and for this to be the deliverance to all-time highs. Breaking even here at the equal highs would have made sense, but I hope that made sense. You guys can kind of see the entry triggers I look at. I personally avoided trading today, but I did see a lot of people take this trade, and that's why I came on here to make a PA video. But I hope this video helped. I hope the entry triggers made sense. I know this one was a little bit more confusing since PA was not the best, but as you guys can see, price did deliver nonetheless to all-time highs here. If you guys sat through this PA and you caught the key open, then that's really good. And if you guys want to learn more from us, just join our Discord in the bio. Take advantage, and I hope this video helped you.